Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez. At last Thursday's town council meeting, councilors accepted over $13 million in grant funds and assurances, almost all of which will be applied to current and future construction projects at the Barnstable Municipal Airport. That was the good news. But the tragic news of the recent murder of Todd Lampley on Fresh Holes Road in Hyannis was a topic of discussion for the council as well. In a trying time for her constituents, Precinct 8 Councilor Deborah Dagwan has showed admirable leadership on the streets of that neighborhood, and on Thursday she brought that leadership to the town council dais, calling upon residents across the town to band together to keep our community safe.
And the things that I really think that we need to be, I learned from the calls that I received is that we need some awareness about what's going on, and we need to be educated and about what's going on and support. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are communities that have dealt with this issue before, and I think there's some best practices out there that we can tap into to try to help the issue. When I get phone calls from people that are telling me that one of the prominent cemeteries here, where they buried their family member and found a syringe two plots over, that's an issue that all of us ought to be concerned about. That worries me, because it worries me because I'm concerned that, and I'm taking it so close to heart because it's just a matter of time before it's me. I come to my door and somebody steals my purse, or approaches me. So we all need to take this very, very serious. That there are real issues here that we don't want to be afraid of our town. We don't want people to be afraid to come here. This is a wonderful place to come. That's why many of us came here. We invested here in this place, and we need to stand up and take charge, make sure that we're in charge of where we live, and that we're going to take control. Walking through the area with the chief of police and some others this past week, there's some just great people over there. People who have lived there a long time and some that are new there. And I think we just have to kind of keep that in mind and keep selling that this is a great place. I don't want to get into too much depth about it. I would like the police chief to kind of give us a little bit of where the investigation is or whatever he can say at this time. But I did want to appeal to the community that this is a Barnstable issue and that all of us need to roll up our sleeves and try to find some best practices to deal with the issues that are going on. Crack pipes that are being sold at gas stations near our schools, I didn't know that. I had parents that call and emphasize that. And I think there are people in the community that don't know what's going on. I had people from businesses that called me and said, I own a hotel, and, I've had people come down here to the hotels and they're breaking into cars. People aren't going to come here if your business is being broken into. So it's not just, in one area. And I'm said to the people in the community, you can't ask the police to do everything. You see something going on, we've got to step up and take our community back. It's just a matter of time before it's your mother, your child, or someone else that's being exposed to this kind of behavior, and we need to take it serious before it escalates beyond what it is right now.
Later, Barnstable Police Chief Paul McDonald obliged Councilor Dagwan's request for an update on the investigation. He also detailed some of the measures being taken to secure the Fresh Holes Road area over the long term.
Last Sunday night, it was a tragedy. A young man in the prime of his life, 31 years old, was shot and killed while he was home watching TV with his back to the window. He was shot through the window. We do not believe this was a random event. We do believe he was targeted. This was a planned, premeditated murder. Currently, we have a small team of officers from the Barnstable Police Department and the state police. They are working around the clock, and they have made significant progress in this investigation. I can't give you any more information than that. The department is also reaching out to the community. We had a community meeting last night. There are other meetings planned. Special orders went out today, changing the way we patrol that general area. Regulatory services will be going on a Fresh Holes, Harriman Road, Quaker Road tomorrow to look at any ordinance or code violations. The town managers are going into the area tomorrow to look at lighting and possible areas we can put up cameras. But we are reaching out to the community. We want to hear what their concerns are and what their fears are, and they will be addressed.
Moving on to the council's agenda, as we said at the top of the show, most of the big-ticket items dealt with construction projects at the airport. First up was an appropriation request of nearly $1.3 million to fund the construction of a new aircraft parking ramp behind the new terminal building that's currently being built. Here's Airport Manager Bud Brialt with an explanation of the project and why it's coming forward now.
At this point, if you look at the charts that I handed out in the overheads, the area that is starred and crosshatched on the map is also, this is the about 600,000 square feet of area that we are going to be surveying, and this is all part of the original plan that we were going to accomplish in 2013. And that's to do the aircraft parking ramp, relocate part of taxiway Alpha, and to redo our de-icing pad. It became apparent that while we were doing this project that we really did need to do this piece, the smaller piece, 130,000 square feet now, and otherwise this would have been dirt in a construction area for 2 to 3 years following the completion of the terminal. So we originally were going to try to do this as part of the original contract. It would have been a temporary ramp, but if we had done that, we would not have been able to get reimbursed by the FAA. So we went to a permanent 20-year ramp, which more than doubled the price, almost tripled the price, but yet we'll get about 97.5% of that back from the FAA and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation. And I also wanted to point out that our current enterprise fund reserve balance is at $5,159,792, so we can well afford to do this now and get reimbursed later. So
the council accepted the appropriation request by a vote of 12-1. By that same margin, the council voted to authorize over $13 million in grant assurances to be signed on the airport's behalf. This will allow for that funding, which was approved by the State Department of Transportation last year, to be disbursed to help pay for the ongoing terminal project. Again, here's Airport Manager Bud Brialt with an explanation.
As the manager mentioned, the grant was approved by the Department of Transportation Board of Directors back in September. We have a contract between the Barnstable Municipal Airport and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation Aeronautics Division that was approved on October 13th. And the assurances, as you see before you, were approved by the Barnstable Municipal Airport Commission on February 15th of this year. The Mass Department of Transportation Aeronautics Division Fiscal 2011 Capital Improvement Program included $8.6 million in reimbursements this fiscal year for the terminal project, and these funds must be expended and reimbursement requested for this for the period ending June 30th of 2011. If we fail to do so, we risk losing the appropriated funding from the Commonwealth, which with the economy today may not be recovered. So the current schedule for reimbursement is in this current fiscal year, $8.6 million, fiscal year 12, $2.8 million, and in fiscal 2013, almost $1.7 million. Right now, there is a very real possibility that because there may be an extra surplus of funds in the state, that we may be able to get additional funds. So we have taken a very hard look at our cash flow analysis for the rest of this year on this construction project, and there's a very real possibility that we may be able to get as much as $10 million from the state this year. But we need to move forward with this grant assurance so that we can immediately start requesting our reimbursements.
Well, that's all for now. Remember, you can watch full-length episodes of Barnstable This Morning anytime you want online. You can find them all in the town's video archives at town.barnstable.ma.us. I'm Nick Cortez, and we'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.